So, you might go, Bobby, you attract a lot of narcissists. Yes, I do. I am completely surrounded by garbage people. At all times, at all sides, that do nothing but kneecap and steal my greatness. Because they're inherent losers. But the truth about the narcissist is the inferiority complex attracts narcissists because they're actually the same thing with one key difference. The narcissist hides their insecurities behind a facade. They're fake. Every YouTuber you know, every charismatic YouTuber you know, is genuinely fake. Once again, the reason they're not on my page is because I'm authentic. And authentic people are abrasive. Authentic people say things you don't like. The narcissist will please the crap out of you because just like the inferiority complex, they want that love and attention they didn't get when they were kids. But here's a key difference between me and a narcissist. I'm not some loser trying to get attention. And it's funny because, once again, it's narcissistic projection. They go, you just want attention, that's why you do that. You're just jealous, that's why you do that. That's all projection. Once again, narcissists don't actually understand you. They're just really good at projecting their insecurities onto you. And then they go, no. I have overwhelming force and power. Everything was handed to me. Therefore, you can't have it. And if you do, we're going to fuck you up. That's what the plan is. Now, we're going to talk about this in depth. Narcissists are often attracted to individuals with inferiority complex because the individual provides a reliable source of narcissistic supply, the constant validation and attention control the narcissist gets to maintain their fragile ego. Every YouTube video I've ever done has done nothing but boost these guys' ego. This is why Gannon used to tune into Robert's videos and then make fun of him, because he needs that supply. He needs somebody constantly talking about him. And I'm really happy to be giving you your supply. They're like, "Ugh!" I don't do that. One of my favorite quotes from the guys that were investigating Stu was like, I don't tune into Bobby's Facebook. I never look at him. And then they actually fucking found on a computer he was using that he was actually going and checking on my Facebook daily. Imagine talking to Stu and he's just lying to your face about something he does. The attraction is fueled to several psychological dynamics. Need for power and superiority. Narcissist sense of self built on being above others. Someone with an inferiority complex may be more likely to defer to the narcissist, allowing them to feel dominant and powerful without being challenged. They believe they're superior beings, and their power comes from being superior. External validation. People with inferiority complexes often look for others for their sense of worth. This makes them highly responsive to love bombing, phase where narcissists shower them with praise to secure an emotional bond. That doesn't work on me because it always comes off as disingenuine. Even when these, there's literally these positive guys that keep coming out here, and I guess it's just this church and he's an inferiority complex, so he wants to be love bombed. No, it's not going to work. No, it's not going to work, because you're disingenuine. You're fake. You're not real people, and that is my biggest beef with you, is you're fake people, and you come off as fake. And it's so painfully obvious for me to see. It bothers me that nobody else can see it. Ease of manipulation. An insecure person may be more susceptible to gaslighting and manipulation. You see, this is the thing I differ from normal inferiority complexes, because I catch most of this shit. I do. I catch most of the psychological tactics, and it's kind of funny as you catch the narcissist, because you literally watch them break their own facade. They start going, and they start getting crazy because their bullshit doesn't work. Because their bullshit doesn't work. The rescuer trap. Many people with low self-esteem or an inferiority complex develop a rescuer mentality, believing they can fix the narcissist's underlying pain. I do not. I do not. But I do remember Blondie coming in and doing this manipulation where he kept trying to make me feel bad for him, and then I gave him genuine advice, and he actually thought that meant I cared for him. No. This is a thing with people. Sometimes you can flirt with somebody and not want sex. Sometimes you can give somebody advice without actually giving a fuck about them. I know. It's amazing. Projection of shame. Narcissists often have their own hidden inferiority complex. By being with someone who openly feels inferior, they can project their own unwanted feelings and inadequacies onto the person, effectively offloading their shame. This is, I call it boondoggling, where somebody's like, oh, this person, you ever seen a couple where, like, and it's always the wife, in my opinion. Their wife is a completely broken person, and the man is just a complete piece of shit, and he just keeps projecting every failure onto him. But let's talk about the entire boondoggle of the reason the narcissist is attracted to the inferiority complex is a lot of the inferiority complex reflects the narcissist. That is why the narcissist has interest in the inferiority complex to begin with. Now, in my videos, I keep getting these videos, and it's a narcissistic thing. Forgive and let go. Forgive, no. No, you are not entitled to forgiveness, you dirty narcissist. You are not entitled to telling me, oh, you need to seek a job that doesn't get attention of people, that doesn't, and you go, Bobby, you seek attention to validate. No, I'm not a narcissist, I'm an inferiority complex, but let's talk about the reason I want attention. I have intent on using my power to actually help people. When I hired Luigi Mangione to shoot that CEO, I did that because I wanted to give people free healthcare. That is why it happened. And believe it or not, Mahatma Ramadani, or whatever the fuck his name is in New York, when I spoke to Anal Eaton Mummy God, was like, well, we want to give people free healthcare. We just don't want to do it through your method of you can just kill you can kill rich people and then get shit done. To which I told him, no, you can just kill rich people and get shit done. We've seen it time and time again in history. And he was like, well, if we go by that metric, then the Friedrich Nietzsche Ubermensch stuff goes right out the window because people suddenly realize they can just shoot and kill rich people and get shit done. No courts, no government, no oversight. And he didn't like that because it again begins uprooting his ideological structure. I'm born into wealth and money. Everybody needs to be submissive to me. I can steal shit from you and it's okay, but if you steal shit from me, there's a problem. And we're going to talk about stealing shit from people. And then them going, you have to be okay with me stealing this thing from you that is rightfully yours. If you're a narcissist, try this exercise. I steal something from you. I don't know, it's a MacGuffin. I steal a MacGuffin from you. You want it. And then I go, hey, that's mine, give it. You go, hey, that's mine, give it back. And I go, you're entitled. It is rightfully yours, but you're entitled. That's why I stole it. And I wanted to teach you a lesson. So here's a bunch of arbitrary tasks to help you develop as a person. 1, is it my job to make you develop as a person? No. 2, the tasks are bullshit because narcissists don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. Okay. And you don't give a fuck about anybody else. That is why you're pissed now. And now, narcissist, you don't have overwhelming force, your entire church to bully me. Now you're left to your own devices to get this object back. What's your plan? It doesn't matter because you're not going to get it back until you do what I want because I have the overwhelming force. You see, this is an inversion of my position. Okay. And I guarantee you that narcissist is just going to act out and be a cock because they're secretly inferiority complexes. This is the dark truth of this entire agenda, is the narcissist is an inferiority complex wearing a mask of charisma. They are. And someone stole something. Now, you might go, Bobby, don't you want your glory to give yourself an identity? No, I want my fame and glory to actually use it to genuinely help people. Unlike Blondie, who wants it because he needs it to fuel his narcissistic supply. Bobby did something great. We beat, raped, waterboarded, and assaulted him, and nobody's going to hold me to account for those things, even though it was 100% his fault. All those people that died were 100% his fault because I didn't tell him to assault me nonstop. He did that all on his own. Okay, and you go, Bobby, that's... but Blondie isn't entitled to shit. Okay, he's not entitled to shit. And I do not care, because the whole thing is, oh, you failed with this arbitrary task we gave you. Shouldn't I be able to give... Let's talk about it from their logic. Shouldn't I be able to give Blondie an arbitrary task to complete? To get my glory? Wouldn't that be fair? Maybe that should be the wish. Yeah, no, Blondie has... Well, what's his arbitrary... I'm just going to keep beating him until I feel better. Well, that might kill him. That's his problem. We got to see if he's tough. You got to have tough leaders, guys. But you lit him on fire, yes. You backed your car over him, yes. You dragged him down the road for 100 miles, yes. He's dead, okay. I guess he wasn't tough enough. This is the problem with arbitrary tests. They make no fucking sense. And let's talk about the whole aspect of the inferiority complex wears whatever problems on their sleeves. I've said that, I do. And that makes me a genuine person, something a narcissist can never be. Blondie, in all of his weakest moments and all of his saddest days, can never be a genuine person. He will never sit down on a show and show you what disgusting creature he actually is. He will never go, well, this guy named Bobby Williams turned in the church as a human trafficking ring. He became the greatest guy on the planet, and then I had to destroy it. I couldn't handle it because I was a fucking loser, and I have all this power. I overwhelmed him in force with the church, and everybody had to do what I said, and I didn't care, and then it all went bad. And now I'm here, and I want to be worshipped, even though I did a horrible thing, and I'm not ever going to do the right thing. I'm just going to keep doing the wrong thing, no matter what. Think about it. Does that sound right to anybody? No. But I remember Anal Eating Mummy guys said, sometimes you just got to live with injustice. But then I remember he called me and he spoke about, this video got banned earlier, the Unabomber. And he told me what happened with the Unabomber was he was a guy like me that was really smart, and he came up with a really complex economic theory that got him fame and glory, and the church decided the Unabomber did not deserve that fame and glory. Even though it was an original idea that came from him, they stole it from him. And then he started blowing up church leaders. And he was like, he was the worst kind of person because they gave him an exam, like me, and then because they gave him the exam, he failed it. And he was like, all he had to do was stand up for himself. I was like, well, what did you want the Unabomber to do? And he was like, it's not important. I was like, what did you want the Unabomber to do to stand up for himself? And I was like, and was he actually standing up for himself? Or were you just torturing the guy and saying he had to do these things and then made up the excuse, oh, it's him standing up for himself. If somebody is standing up for themselves, what you do is you send somebody out, you send them out to bully him. And then if they shoot him in the head, put a bomb in their car, or fucking stab him to death, they stood up for themselves. And he went, no! That's not standing up for yourself. And I was like, let's talk about this, Anal Eating Mummy God. You guys stole something that was rightfully the Unabomber's from the Unabomber. And he was like, well, we have overwhelming force, and we can do what we want. And I was like, and the Unabomber can do what he wants, because let's be honest, we can all just do whatever we want. And he just don't know. He told me, the Unabomber said things like that. And I said, okay. And he said, the problem with the Unabomber is he didn't think like a baboon. There's a video, a thing I read recently, and it was talking about the difference between people who respect somebody that up and assault somebody, that's somebody that punches somebody in the mouth, and how everybody cheers for it. But nowadays, when you deck somebody, there's a kind of rejection of it. And this dude explained that there is an amygdala baboon brain that when you punch somebody in the head, the baboon brain activates, and it's like that guy main baboon, that guy man. And they're like, modern days, most people actually operate in the prefrontal cortex. So when that happens, they go, what a baboon. I'm kind of glad we're heading that way, because it just means that every malignant narcissist leader at this church that believes decking somebody in the face is going to make them cool is going to have the opposite effect. But I was like, okay, cool. I was like, Elite Mummy God, I was like, people play things to their strengths. And he was like, I don't want to get into this. You do want to get into this. And he told me when the Unabomber was blowing up church leaders, he had just met with one of them a week before, and he found out he'd gotten blown up. So Anal Eating Mummy God curled up under his bed. The president of this church curled up under his bed and started crying, because he was terrified that he was going to get a package and it was going to blow him up. And I was like, all you had to do is give that guy back his glory. And I told him, Anal Eating Mummy God, I was like, what if people are just destined for greatness, and then when you steal it from them, they have a good greatness to them, and you steal that and go, that's mine, I get all the attention, and I'm going to use it for stupid shit, which is what Blondie's going to do. And then they go, I'm going to be great anyways. Boom. And then Anal Eating Mummy God was like, I don't like that. What? Yeah.
Gas in the truck?
Yes. So, Anal Eating Mummy God was like, I don't like that. And I was like, what do you mean you don't like that? And he was like, when somebody wants you to be assertive, putting a bomb in there, sending a bomb to them is an overreaction. I was like, why do they overreact? You kept bullying them. You had it coming. And he was like, no, it's not fair. It is fair, because you guys chose, this is a choice in life, you chose the baboon brain. You said the baboon brain is superior. Act like baboon. Do aggressive. Do baboon way. So we assault you until you do baboon way. And then when you don't do baboon way, you do smart way. You stay in a safe place, and then boom, there's a problem. Here's how I would handle this situation. When I was in high school, there was a kid that was bullying another kid. And he goes, that kid needs to stand up. Well, that kid came in with a belt with a metal end and whipped that other dude in the face, and it gave him a black eye. And then that kid got up and tried to beat him and was telling him he's a coward and he's weak. And when I was in middle school, a dude kept bullying me, told me he wanted me to stand up for myself, so I headbutted him and punched him in the head. That kid got a concussion and then went on about how I could have killed him, but I stood up for myself. But he told me he wanted me, but when I did it, there was a problem. So I said, Anal Eating Mummy God, if you're like, this guy just needs to stand up for himself, are you going to thank him if he sends a bomb to your house? And there was just a complete silence. I was like, because standing up for yourself comes in many forms. It comes in many ways. Okay. A person who was abused by a narcissist in their house, and then one day the narcissist is just stabbed to death in their sleep. That's what happens. Okay. You did that by your behaviors and how you act. And then you go, I'm a victim of my own behaviors, and then you justify it by going, well, I operate under the amygdala and I'm a baboon. But who chose to operate like a baboon? Who made all those decisions? And who created the Unabomber? And he was like, I'm really concerned that this guy might turn Unabomber. And I was like, you give him back his glory because it's not worth the pain. And he was, it is worth the pain. And I was like, okay, then it's worth the pain. I don't know if anybody can understand how destructive this is, but a big chunk of this video is explaining why inferiority complexes attract narcissists. Inferiority complexes are real. Narcissists are fake. And that's just the truth. Thank you.